Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we are trying to discuss the exception handling here. And inside this particular exception handling, we implemented one class here to handle the multiple catch flag. So this is an example, the multi-class we implemented. So we see how exactly we are going to work with this particular multiple exceptions here. And in that this particular multi-catch, so initially we handle with arithmetic exception, and later we handle array index out of bound exception. Okay, if you observe, so initially we are handling the particular arithmetic exception here, and later we are handling the array index out of bound exception here. So to work on this, what we are doing here, so we are trying to run the same example here. So initially we are going to get an exception that is called arithmetic exception, and later we are getting an exception. So you can see arithmetic exception we are getting here, and after the try catch block it is executing. And later when we are running the same example from the terminal, we are getting array index out of bound exception. Why we are getting this particular array index out of bound exception? So because of here what we are doing here, we are getting, so we are creating an one array here, and inside this particular array, how many values we are inserting? So we are having only one value, so that is storing in the location called 0. If we observe carefully, so as we discussed in the last classes, how exactly the arrays are it's working internally. Now, so this is the way the arrays are going to create it. Getting the point. But in the current example, when we are trying to do like this particular open parenthesis and close parenthesis, so what we are doing here, whenever we are specifying this value, based on this particular value, the internal array is going to create it. We are having only one array, so that is storing in one value inside the zero index. So because we are having only one value, the one value is going to store in the 0 index, because the arrays concept is going to start from the 0. So as of now we don't have any element here, so inside this particular location we don't have any elements here. So what is the value, one value which is stored in the particular 0 location. But now, so second step, the second step what we are doing here, in the 42 index location, we are trying to store the 100 value. We are trying to store the 100 value. But how many elements we are having this particular array? Only one value, which is resides in the particular 0 index location. But we don't have any other value. Because of this, so we are getting the array index out of one exception here. Getting the point. So basically, as I explained here, to work on the arrays, so first we need to create the size of the array. Getting the point. So once the size of the array we created, then only we can able to insert or delete, we can update the values using this particular array concept. So we can observe here, to work on that, what we need to do is we need to create something like this. Getting the point. Something, so from 0 to 50. 0 to 50. So you can imagine 0 is the first index and 50 is the last index. So in somewhat we are going to have the 42 location. Inside this particular 42 location, what we are going to do, the particular 100 value we are going to store. So whenever we are having like this the particular array, then only we can able to insert this particular value successfully without getting any exception. Right. So the same example we are going to run inside the debug mode. We'll try to check how exactly it's going to work here. Okay. So let me put a breakpoint here. Now, okay. So to handle this, what I can do, I want to make some comment for the arithmetic exception here. Sorry, debug as Java application. And if I'm going to change the prospect to here, you can able to see the variable information. So the variable here we are getting 0 because the R we don't have any as of now. We did not pass any argument from the command line. Right. Now if I'm going to click on the F6 here, so we received the next line. We received the next line. You can see how many elements we're having. This C is nothing but a one array here. So you can able to see in the variable section. In the variable section you can able to see. So basically only one value created, that is called, so 0 index location, one value is created. Right. If I'm going to store C42, getting the point, we don't have any the particular 42 index location. So because of that, the catch is handling here, and you can see inside the catch block the message is triggered here, and after this we are getting the last message after the try catch block. The same example I want to run here. So here I want to change to 0. I want to change to 0. Okay, now observe carefully. Again I'm going to run the same example here. Again I'm going to run the same example. You can carefully observe. So initially the array is created, and inside the location you can able to see 0 is equals to 1. And now what I'm doing here, any exception is triggered. So no exceptions here. If you want to identify, you can put the cursor here inside the C, because we are into the try block. So because of that we are unable to see the variables inside the variable sections here. Getting the point? Because of what here? So the block of code is executed. The stack memory is cleared here. Getting the point? So because of that we are unable to figure it out what exactly the value stored inside this particular array. Right. Now, so we are not getting any error. Simply after try catch block is printing a message. So this is the way we can work with here. We can work with the multiple catches here to handle the exception. And in that, this is also very important. How exactly, in the which scenario we are going to get the particular arithmetic exception, and in the which scenario we are going to get something called array index out of bound exception. Getting the point? And so we'll try to check with one more example here. So as of now, what are the keywords we completed? The try keyword we completed, as well as the particular catch keyword we completed. Right. Now we'll check with one more example using the nested try blocks. So how we can create a nested block here. Getting the point? How we can create the nested blocks. So to work on that, what we can do, I will try to change the perspective. I'm going to create one more class here. If you observe carefully, so now nested try. I want to create a class called nested try. So inside this particular nested try, so first I'm creating one try here. First I'm creating one try block here. Inside this particular try block, what I can do, so observe carefully, the same thing I'm going to work with here, arg.length. Arg.length here. Right. Now, so once we created this particular length, what I'm going to do, so the same example I want to work here, something called 42 by A. So 42 by A. And later, I will try to print A value. So A value I'm printing here. And after this, again, one more try block I want to create. I'm creating one more try block here. So inside this particular try block, what I'm going to do, I'm checking one condition here. If A equals to 1, what I will do here, and a is equals to a minus a. So I'm trying to do some operations here. So if the a is equals to 1, what I'm doing here, again I'm trying to do some division operation and internally with a subtraction. Getting the point. So after this, what we can do here, after this, what exactly I'm doing here, I'm going to check one more here. A is equals to 2. Right, and internally one more array I'm creating here. So with the value 1, the same value I'm going to specify here. Carefully observe here how we are creating here. Getting the point. And after this, so now what I'm doing here, again I want to add in the 10 location the 99 value I want to add. In the 10 location 99 value I want to add. And after this, what I'm doing here, I'm not going to, okay, this is the if block and this is the catch block, sorry, try block. Here I want to handle one exception that is called array index out of bound exception. So carefully observe here, the handling an exception is important here. How exactly we are creating here? I'm trying to handle array index out of bound exception, and after that we are going to print one message here. The same message array index and here, so with some message. Getting the point. And after this particular catch block, now what I'm going to do, and so whenever we are working on the outer try block, so this is the outer try block, I'm going to add one more catch block here. So that is nothing but arithmetic exception. That is nothing but arithmetic exception. So here divide by 0 and plus ex. So these are the simple example here. And now observe, we are creating nested try block along with the nested catch block also. And this is the outer try. The outer try having one catch block here. Getting the point. So if I'm going to save this example, so the first we'll check here. What exception we are going to get. So what is the exception we are getting here? Something called the divide by 0 arithmetic exception. So which catch block is handling? This particular catch block is handling here. Getting the point. So this particular catch block is handling. Now, if I am going to run the same example using our terminal. So carefully observe. Let me copy this example where we created. CD. I want to change the directory to our current directory. What happened? Directory's name is invalid. Okay. Let me go for this particular directory. Now we are in the directory where our class is available. First, what we can do? So Java C nested try. I'm going to compile the code. So the compilation successfully completed, and nested try. So if I'm going to run, we are getting the arithmetic exception. So now that we have identified using our console. So in the console also we are seeing the same exception. Right. Now observe here. Here something called I'm giving test 1. So what is happening internally? So even though we are getting an a value 1, but still we are getting an exception here. So I will explain here. So how, like where this particular a value is printing. So let me go to the example. What we are doing here, we are printing an a value 1. Getting the point. So whenever the a value is printing, this particular exception is not going to get. So 42 divided by a, some value we are going to get. Getting the point. So if you want to check here, we can check later, but make sure this line number is not going to give any error. About where we are getting an error. So because here inside the nested try, we are having one condition here. If a equals to 1. So before going to run the same example, now what I want to check here. So I want to provide the message here. I want to provide the message called nested try block, so that we'll have an idea how exactly. So this example is going to work here. Observe here, it's compiled successfully. Now I'm running the same example. Now you can see a value we are getting, and so now we are entering into the nested try block. So it's nothing but which condition is satisfying here. So this particular condition is satisfied. Getting the point. Once this particular condition is satisfied, so it has to be handled this catch block. Getting the point. So it has to be handled this catch block, but it is not handling this particular catch block because it is a different exception. Arithmetic index out of bounds, some different exception we are getting. But what exception we are getting here? Something called arithmetic exception. So even though if you are trying to work with a nested try and catch block, if the appropriate catch block is not available, what is going to do? Is going to check any outer try block having any catch, the catch block related to the same exception which we got in the nested block. Getting the point. So in the nested block, we don't have the appropriate catch block. So in the outer, we are having the exception. The same exception we are having. So this is handling right now. So this is the one of the advantage we are going to get. So it's going to check if the catch block is not handling. And the nested is going to check is the outer level of the block. Getting the point. So this is because of this particular block is executing. This particular block is executing here. Right. Now we are identified. So when this particular exception is going to get here, whenever this particular a value is going to 2, and so this particular code we are trying to change here. So let me run those example also, test 2. You can observe here. So previously array arithmetic exception we are getting, and now we are getting array index out of bound exception. So now same we are in the nested try block, but a value is equals to 2. So before we are having a value is equals to 1. Getting the point. So I'm trying to make a little bit bigger. So a value 2 and a value 1. So this is the way we can handle the exceptions using the nested try block. If the appropriate exception is not handling, is going to check here. So even if we are not handling here, so if you are not handling here, something called, if I'm going to handle this particular null point exception. So let me compile the code. Okay. So observe here. if we are not handling an exception, who is handling here? So by default, Java is handling here, but here you can observe we are getting the message differently. So if we are not handling any exception, by default Java is going to handle. Getting the point. But you can observe exception in the thread, so that is called main method. So the inside the main method, the class name called nested try, line number 12, we are going to get an exception. So this message coming from the Java runtime system is throwing this message because we don't have a appropriate catch block. Getting the point. So whenever we are trying to handle any catch block, what we are going to do? So we are going to specify the user defined message, and inside the catch block, what we want to write when we are going to get any exception. So those information we are going to write inside the catch block here. So in the real time, the catch block also very important. So most of the time, if you are going to get any exception, so we are going to prepare once we get an exception. So those information we are going to write. The simple example here, in the application, basically we are going to provide the one message. Along with the message, we are going to handle some error codes here. So those error codes inside the catch block only we are going to implement. So in that case, the catch block is important based on the exception, how we are going to implement the error codes. So to what we can call it as the error code. With error codes, we are going to save the data into the database for future reference. So in the how many cases we got an exception. So based on that, we are going to implement the code inside the try block. Okay, so these are about the particular nested try how we can implement here. Okay, so any questions regarding this, the nested try block here? Okay, now so it's a simple to arg is nothing but, so now, so carefully observe here. So this is the way we need to specify the particular two arguments here. So the first test one is going to take as a one argument, test two is going to take as a second argument here. And we can able to see we are getting the value 2. Is nothing but the value 2 is nothing but we are getting the length here 2. So if you are trying to print one by one, you are going to get an output here. So what are the values we are getting inside this particular arguments? Okay, so back to here. Now we'll try to check with the throw keyword. So as of now, we checked with the try and the catch. So we need to check with the throw. So basically what we are doing here, whenever we are going to get any exception, we are handling an exception. We are handling an exception using this particular catch block. But in the which case we can throw an exception. Getting the point. So if we are trying to throw any exception, we are going to use this particular throw keyword. So whenever we are trying to throw an exception, we are going to create an object of the particular class. So using the particular class, we'll try to throw an exception here. So simple example here. And let me create one example regarding this particular throw keyword. So inside this particular throw demo, what I want to do, I want to create one method called the static method I'm creating, demo proc, and inside that, now what I'm doing is I'm creating one try block here. I'm creating try block. Okay, so if you're not creating the try block, if I'm going to throw some new null pointer exception. throw null pointer exception. So simply I want to specify the message here. Basically what we're doing here, so using new keyword, we are going to create the particular exception class object here and with some message here. So this is the constructor of this particular exception class and we are specifying the message. Right. So inside this particular file, what we am doing here, so I'm directly simply I'm throwing an exception. And after that, I'm creating the main method. Inside the main method, what I will do, I'm calling demo proc. I'm calling demo proc. So see carefully. If I'm going to run the example, you can able to see. So basically, who is handling this exception here? We are not handling any exception. So Java, the runtime system is handling this exception, and whatever the message we provided, the message we are getting only. Only the message we are getting. But we don't want to get this particular message. So we want to provide the message what we are trying to check here. Getting the point. So to handle this, what we need to do here? To handle this, what we need to do? So basically, even though when throwing an exception, this particular exception, it needs to be handled in some location. So then only the particular message, whatever the message we are going to provide, those message is going to capture here. So I'm not handling, this is the system message. This is the system message we are going to get. And observe here, inside the try block I'm throwing, I'm trying to call the demo proc and I'm trying to handle this exception, null pointer exception ex. So inside this, so what I'm doing here, I want to specify handle the exception in the main method. And so if you want to provide the message also, we can specify. Observe here. So see, initially we are getting around 3 lines of the message here, but now we are getting only 1 line of message here. So this is the beauty of throwing an exception, and the same exception we are handling here. If we are not handling, so this is very important. We need to handle an exception. Then only we can understand where we are, how, like which exception we got, and how we are trying to resolve those exceptions. And if we are not handling the exception, we cannot find the log message of the particular exception. So in the production environment application, we are going to work with the loggers. So inside the catch block, so we are going to work with the logger, we'll specify, and whatever the exception we are going to get, so those we are going to handle inside the loggers. Okay, so that we will see and later, but make sure here how we can work with this throw keyword. To throw in some exception, what we are doing here, we are trying to using the throw keyword and we are creating an object of this particular constructor. Right. Now we'll see one more keyword here, something called throws here. So throws. Basically, instead of throwing an exception, sometimes we don't want to throw an exception. What we can do here, we'll try to handle this exception information at the method level. Getting the point. So how exactly we can work here? Basically, here what we are going to do, the name of the method, along with the name of the method, we are going to provide the throws declaration, so that we are not going to handle the exception information inside the particular method. But in some ways, we are going to handle the exception. So observe carefully. So to work with, again, we are going to create the same exception here, or we can create one more exception here. Let me check. Okay, we'll create a new class. So I'm creating throws demo. So this is the throw demo and this is the throws demo. So see the difference here. What I want to do here. Basically, the simple one I want to show. Inside the, okay, we'll call the demo method. I want to print some message here. Inside the demo method. So now what I'm doing here. So I want to specify the argument exception here and a simple demo. Right. So this is the one method we are creating here, and now I'm working with main method. Inside the main method, demo. So I'm calling the demo method. So what we are doing here, so basically just we are throwing an exception. We are not handling it. The system will going to handle the. So this is a println method we provided inside the demo method, and this is the system message we are getting here. Whatever we are passing as a constructor. Okay. So if we observe the same thing here, now what I'm going to do, inside the same method, inside this particular demo, I'm throwing an exception. I'm throwing an exception. So sometimes what will happen here, whenever this exception will throw, so either we can work like this. Illegal argument exception EX, and this out here. Inside demo method, we handle the exception. Okay, let me run the same example. So you can able to see inside the demo method we are handling. So here we are throwing an exception. The throw exception we are handling here. Getting the point. So if we are not handling here, what we can do here? We can throw the same exception here. We can throw the same exception here. Getting the point. So now what I can do, I want to copy. Okay. So if you observe carefully, so we are throwing an exception. This demo method is also not handling. What we are doing is using this particular throws, again rethrowing an exception. Right. So where we are handling here. So as of now we are not handling. Again, the system is going to handle. The system is going to handle. So to handle manually, what we can do? So here we need to specify inside this particular main method catch block. So illegal argument exception EX, and I want to specify this. So message here inside the instead of demo main method. Observe here. So inside the main method we are handling an exception. So this is the inside the demo method we are printing, and whenever the exception is got, what we are doing is using this particular demo method we are rethrowing an exception. The throws exception is handled here inside the main method. So this is the way we can handle in the multiple location. So here where this particular demo is calling, and before calling also we can handle. And if you're not interested to handle here, so we can create wherever we are going to get any exception, and using the same particular location using the try catch block we can handle the exception. Or else we can do, so if you are trying to work with in the one location, you want to add all the exception. So all the methods it's going to call from the try block. So we can also handle the exception. But here the thing is, whenever we are going to throw this particular exception, so it has to be handled some location here. Getting the point? So then only whatever the message we are trying to provide the information to the user, those informations are going to reflected. Otherwise, by default, the system is going to generate the message. So that cannot understand by the user. So this is all about the throws keyword, and as well as again we are working with the throw also here. The final keyword we are going to discuss with the finally. The final keyword here we are going to discuss with the finally. So basically what I want to explain here, finally, so it's going to execute even the exception occurs, or if the exceptions not occurs also, the finally block is going to execute. So we'll try to check with you the same example using one more class here. Finally block. Right. So inside this particular finally block, what I want to do, static void, I want to create one method, something called PROCA, and inside this, what I'm doing is handle one message here, something called inside PROCA method, and now so runtime exception. Runtime exception. What I want to do, so simply I want to specify the message name. After this, what I'm doing here, I'm not going to handle any catch block. So directly I'm handling finally block here. So inside this particular finally block, I want to specify one message here. Getting the point. So we are creating try block, and directly I'm not going to create any catch block. So I'm checking with the finally block. Right. After completion of this, I'm going to work with one more method. So this is the one more method I want to create, and inside this also we are going to print something called okay. What I'm doing here, I'm not sorry. So we want to provide the try block. I want to simply return here. I'm not going to write anything here. Again, what I will do, I'm working with the finally block. So inside the finally block, what I will do, so this is the one more method. And so we'll try to check with main method. We'll try to check with the main method here. Basically, inside this particular main method, now what I want to do, I want to use try block. Inside the try block, I'm calling so a block method, and I'm going to handle, because the a block method only is returning exception information. Here, what I want to do, simply I will call exception. And after catch block, I'm calling one more method. So carefully observe what we are doing here. So we are creating two methods here. One is process A, second one process B. So inside the process A, what we are doing here, we are throwing an exception here, and we are not handling any exception. So directly we are checking with the finally block, and we have one more method. We are not throwing anything. Simply we are trying to return. Simply we are trying to return here, and we are trying to check here how exactly the final block is going to work here. So this is the main method we are calling. Let's see how exactly it's going to work here. So you can see inside the process A method is executed. Is nothing but this method is executed. So this sysout message is printed, and later, even though we are trying to throw an exception, the finally block executed or not. So we can able to see finally block in process A method. This message is coming from here, and later what happened here? Exception caught. Where this message is coming from? This message is coming from this. What we are doing basically, whenever calling this particular process here, we are throwing an exception. The exception is handled here, and after that, what we are doing here, we are trying to provide the message, and after providing the message, is trying to execute the below lines of code. The below lines of code, what we are doing here, we are calling one more method here, something called process B, and inside the process B method is executed, and the process B final block also executed. So even we are trying to return anything, the final block is executing, and whenever we are getting an exception also, the final block is executing. Getting the point? So this is I want to explain. Whenever basically either getting an exception or without getting an exceptions also, the finally block is going to execute it. Getting the point? So this is very important here. Now, okay, before moving into the built-in exceptions, any questions regarding all the keywords which we discussed as of now? Okay, so now what I want to share here, how, like, what are the built-in exception classes are available. So we need to check what are the built-in exception classes are available. First, we'll go for the runtime exception, and later we'll check for the checked exception. So what I'm going to explain right now, these are the unchecked exception. So basically, what is the difference between checked exceptions and unchecked exception? And the checked exceptions here, we are going to handle like this. We are going to handle like this in the particular while developing an application. While writing the code only, we are going to provide the try catch block. So now unchecked exception, we are not going to provide anything. So based on we may get any exception. If we want to handle any exception, in that case only, we are going to specify the try catch blocks here. So that is very important here. Without getting an exceptions also, the checked exception, it is mandatory to handle try catch block. Getting the point. Now observe So what are the unchecked exceptions we are having? So the unchecked exceptions here, the first one we already identified. Arithmetic exception is a one kind of unchecked exception, and illegal argument. So we identified the illegal argument is also one kind of exception. Basically, what is the purpose of this particular exceptions here? The arithmetic exception, what we are doing and when we are going to get. So that is we identified whenever we are trying to divide something with the zero value. So we are going to get an exception, that is arithmetic exception. And this particular illegal argument here, whenever we are trying to work with the different types of arguments here, different types of arguments, we are going to get the illegal arguments exception. So this is the one kind of exception we identified. And one more here, array index out-of-bound exception. So in the which scenario we are going to get this exception? When we are working with the arrays related example, based on the index, we are trying to perform any operation. If the appropriate index number is not available, in that case we are going to get the exception called array index out-of-bound exception here. Right, and class cast exception. One more we have something called, so this is the class cast exception. So in the which scenario we are going to work here? When we are working with the data type, different to data types here. So when we are trying to convert one data type into another data type, so we may get this kind of exception that is called class cast. Getting the point? Something called double to int or any primitive or custom data type, something called person to member or member to person. When we are trying to convert an object, so we may get this kind of exceptions here. And null pointer exception. When we are trying to work with null reference objects here, so we are going to get a particular null pointer exception here. So we'll have more and more the like unchecked exceptions here, and we'll go for the checked exceptions here. So the checked exceptions here, the first one here, class not found exception. Class not found. So this is, we need to discuss the class not found exception is a checked exception. So to handle this, initially while developing the code, we are going to specify the try catch block. And one more here, SQL exception. This particular SQL exception will come into the picture when we are discussing. So JDBC related examples here. So in the JDBC related example, we are going to get the SQL exception. SQL exception is also one kind of checked exception. And some other exceptions here, cloning. When we are trying to clone an object, so in that case also we are going to get an exception, clone not support exception. Getting the point. So we'll see. Let me check here. Can we handle the simple example? Process C, the checked exception. Observe here, whenever we are trying to work with this particular class not found, so it's giving two options. Getting the point. So what are the two options given? So it's giving an option surround with a try catch or add this particular throws declaration. So we try to check with the try catch. So how it is handling it? So this is the steps I explained here. When we are going to work with the try catch block, so here we are going to handle the checked exception. And same way, if I'm going to write something, one more method. So that is you already identified. Here, null pointer exception. But we are not getting any error messages. So null pointer is an unchecked exception. Class not found is a checked exception. So got the difference here. So as I explained, when we are going to work with the checked exceptions while developing the code only, we are going to handle like this. Or so instead of handling this, what we can do, we'll try to throw the declaration here. So to throw the declaration, observe here. So this is the throws declaration. But now, so instead of handling an exception, what we are doing here, we are throwing an exception to the throws declaration we define to the process method. But make sure whenever this particular process method is calling, so if I'm going to call here process A, what is asking here? Again is asking here, handle the exception within the type block or rethrow the exception. So if I'm going to use the throws here, where it will handle, the main method is going to handle the throws declarations here. So this is the way we are going to work with the checked exception and unchecked exception. And these are the some built-in exceptions we identified here. So we can work with custom exceptions. I want to create my own exceptions here. So how we can create? So to create your own exceptions, first we need to work with we need to extend something called so this is the my exception is a custom exception here. Now what we are doing here, we are going to work with extend here. We need to extend this particular exception. So it's having something the default serial version ID. And later what I'm going to do, this is a constructor. The constructor I want to specify some message here. Message is equals to message. So this way we can create an exception. And using this particular exception, what we can do, I'm going to work with the same example which we discussed earlier. And what I'm doing here, the process here method, instead of working with the runtime exception, here I'm going to work with the my exception. So let me save all the classes here. What is giving here? Basically, I want to throw this particular exception here. The process here is trying to handle the exception here. Okay, let me save the example. We'll try to run with example here. The same example I'm going to run. The exception is caught. So what is the message we have specified here? Process here. The process here we are not printing here. To print the process here, what we do here, we need to specify exception message. Observe one more time. I'm trying to run here. You can see we are getting an my exception. Getting the point. So this is the way we can work with the message information. And so this is very important to create your own exception. What we need to follow? So we need to extend from the exception class. So how many exceptions we are going to create in our own, all the classes, it has to be extended from the exception class. So then only we are going to get some of the features from the exception class. Getting the point. And these are about the custom exceptions. And later, what I can see, okay, so can work with like this, provide the toString method. But the toString method we'll try to discuss in the later concept here. So this is the toString method. So instead of working with the superclass toString method, now what I'm going to do, sorry, I'm trying to specify something called my exception. Here I want to specify, sorry, I want to specify message. So along with my exception, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open one brace and I'm trying to provide the message. So carefully observe here. So whenever we are trying to throw exception here, what exactly is happening here, and we'll on the example. You can see my exception and process here. So this message is coming from the where, this message is coming from the this particular tool. The toString, what we are doing here, name of the exception along with the message, and here we appended with some open brace and something close brace. So the same thing we are getting here. Get the point. So this is the way we can override the toString method to provide the output some format here. Getting the point. So these are about the exception classes here. Still, if you are having any questions, let me know. So before moving, one important concept here. Okay. So I want to discuss one important concept here, something called multi-threading. How exactly the multi-threading is going to use in our Java. So to work on the multi-threading, what are the steps we need to follow? Getting the point. See, basically, this serial version is going to specify this particular class information when we are going to work with the net, like whenever we are trying to forward this object into the over the network. So in that case, so serialization concept there is going to identify here. So as of now, we are not going to work with the particular serial version UID, but this is going to work on the serialization concept. Inside the serialization, based on this particular ID only, so this object is going to recognize it. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to check with one important concept here, something called multi-threading here. So how exactly the multi-threading we are going to use? After completion of multi-threading, so we'll try to check with the Java 8 feature, something called the default method and static method, how we can use in Java. So that is we are going to see after completion of multi-threading examples. So today, very important concept we are going to discuss. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I'm going to close the today class and we'll continue tomorrow with the new concept of multi-threading.